It was well past midnight when Julia Bennett, CEO of a thriving tech startup, found herself barefoot, drained, and locked out of her sleek San Francisco penthouse. The elevator had just slid shut behind her when she realized the horrifying truth. No phone, no keys, no purse. All she had in her hand was a takeout box of cold pad thai she'd planned to eat straight from the container. She had stepped out for just a second to check on a strange noise in the hallway, probably the neighbors again, and the heavy, self-locking door had sealed shut behind her. Her silk blouse clung to her back from the sticky summer heat as she stared at the closed door in disbelief. Julia let out a quiet groan, sinking to the hallway floor, her head tipping back against the wall. Of all nights, after a brutal investor meeting, after she'd had to let go of her longtime operations manager, this was how her day would end. Then she heard it, a faint squeak of wheels, and the soft murmur of a child singing. At the far end of the hall appeared a man, in a worn grey sweatshirt pushing a stroller. The small girl inside, wrapped in a purple blanket, blinked sleepily. He paused, eyes catching hers, his expression a mix of concern and confusion. "You okay there, Mom?" he asked, adjusting the blanket over the little girl's shoulders. His voice was gentle, tired, and kind. Julia sat up straighter, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "Locked out, no phone. No dignity either," he chuckled quietly, leaning against the wall across from her. "Well, dignity's overrated," she gave a small smile. "So is pad thai, apparently." "Want some?" He hesitated, then grinned and sat down a few feet away, keeping a respectful distance. The stroller rested between them like a quiet little guardian. "I'm Mark, by the way," he said. "And this troublemaker is Lila. She's been having nightmares lately, so these late-night hallway walks have become our thing." Julia leaned forward and waved softly at the girl. "Hi, Lila." Lila blinked sleepily and clutched a small stuffed bunny closer. "You live here?" Julia asked. Mark nodded. "7th floor. Been here about 5 months. Trying to get back on my feet. Between jobs?" she asked gently. He shrugged. "Kind of. Used to do maintenance. Fixing stuff, building, you name it. Company downsized, so now it's odd jobs wherever I can find them. It's been an adjustment, raising Lila solo." Something in his voice, steady, humble but proud, lingered in the air. Julia studied him for a moment, her heart softening. A single dad in a sleepless city, still finding the patience to help a stranger. After a comfortable pause, Mark stood. "Hang on, I might be able to help." He rummaged beneath the stroller and pulled out a bent metal hanger. "Learned a few things in my maintenance days," he said with a playful wink. Julia watched, both amused and curious, as he crouched by her door, twisting and guiding the hanger with practiced precision. A couple of tense minutes later, click, the door swung open. Julia blinked. "You actually unlocked it," he grinned, pushing the door gently. "Guess some old tricks never fail." She burst out laughing, the kind of laugh that cracked through exhaustion and stress. "You may have just saved my sanity." "Glad to be of service," he said, standing up. She hesitated, then said, "At least let me thank you properly. Coffee? Breakfast?" "My treat." He looked down at Lila, who was already half asleep again. "I'd like that. But only if you don't mind crayons all over the table. I insist on it." The next morning they met at a sunny corner cafe. Julia wore jeans for the first time in weeks. Mark had the same hoodie on, hair a little messy, smile easy. Lila sat between them, happily doodling suns and stick figures on the back of a napkin. For the first time in months, Julia didn't check her phone. Halfway through breakfast, Mark looked up. "So what do you do exactly?" Julia paused, a little sheepish. "I run a few tech companies. I'm—" "Julia Bennett," Mark raised a brow. "The Julia Bennett?" She laughed softly. "I don't usually get locked out, I promise." He grinned, sipping his coffee. Good to know CEOs need rescuing sometimes, too. 3 months later, Mark was working full-time as a facilities consultant for Julia's new non-profit, one she'd started to fund trade programs for single parents. It had been his idea. He never asked for favors, and she never treated him like an employee. What grew between them was something steadier than chance, built on late-night pasta. Quiet kindness and the warmth of unexpected connection, and sometimes, when Lila asked for a bedtime story, Julia would tell her the one about the night a barefoot woman got locked out of her apartment and let kindness in instead. Because sometimes, the doors that close behind us lead to something far better waiting to open. Friendship, a second chance, and the kind of human kindness the world could use a lot more of.